Yo, it's me, CSCOTT, baby, and I'm here with my review of House 2, The Second Story, starring Laura Parlinkin, John Ratzenberger, Bill Maher, Royal Dano, and is directed by Ethan Wiley. Alright, this movie is called House 2, it's not necessarily a sequel to the first film, by any means. And I don't understand, because each one of these films in this franchise are not really connected to any of them. And you can say the last one, but we'll get to that one, because I have my own thoughts on this. I've been looking up, trying to find if there's anything. I couldn't find anything, but when we get to the fourth one, I'll have my idea. I have an idea, and I have a theory about this movie too. It's more like the character in the film, the lead character, Jesse. Now, the film follows the character of Jesse McLaughlin. 25 years earlier, when he was a baby, his parents were killed by a ghostly figure. And it was over a crystal skull, which they didn't have, so I don't understand why it was going after them, but who knows? It's the house. Basically, this house is haunted. That's one thing that connects it. Is a house that's haunted. That's what connects all four films. Not the same house, mind you, but, you know. And so, Jesse goes back to his family's house, which they still have under the name after 25 years. I don't know. He and his girlfriend, played by Laura Parlinkin, they move into the house. And that night, sometime after midnight, his friend Charles shows up with his girlfriend, and they stay the night. And the next morning, there's a little thing with Amy Asbeck's character, who's the Charles' girlfriend, doing a weird little dance. The girlfriends are really inconsequential to the plot. They don't really make any contribution other than just being there. And they're not really important characters. And I don't understand why they were even included. My thought is that you could have just had Jesse and Charles, like Jesse say, oh, this is my family's house and I want to check it out, and have them crash at the house without the girlfriends even being involved. Because the way that the girlfriends are written out of this movie, it just doesn't make sense why they were to begin with, because they're not involved in any of the major plot points in this film. Like at all. Not really. So here's the thing, is that Jesse finds out about this crystal skull that his parents were involved with, and he finds that he somehow finds that it's buried with his great-great-grandfather. So he goes to dig up his great-great-grandfather to find out that he's still alive because of the crystal skull. They call him Gramps. Yeah, and so they take the crystal skull back to the house, and that's when shit hits the fan. They get there, and there's a Halloween party going on. And they put this crystal up on the altar, and this big muscle-bound jungle-type guy comes in, and he takes it. And Jesse and Charles have to make chase, and they end up in this prehistoric jungle where they face not only the big muscle-bound man, but pterodactyls. And the skull even gets taken by one of the baby pterodactyls, who also makes their way into the real world. And they also have a dogapillar. A dogapillar. It's a caterpillar with a dog's face. A dogapillar. I kid you not. A dogapillar. This movie's more comedy than horror, but it's part of the franchise, so I gotta review it. And I don't do straight horror on this channel. I do all sorts of things, but... So, they defeat the muscle-bound guy eventually. They get back, and they, once again, Gramps, he puts the skull on the altar, and more bad guys show up. This movie is more like, it's an anthology movie, but not really, because it features the same characters going through different things. There's like 3 different sections altogether. There's the main, setting, which is this house. Within the house, as John Ratzenberger puts it, there's an alternate universe inside the house. John Ratzenberger, he plays this character named Bill, I believe, who is an electrician or something like that. He shows up after the first segment, and the segment there's like prehistoric jungle, ancient voodoo Aztec temple thing in the Old West. Basically what it is. And after this first section, Bill shows up, John Ratzenberger, and he actually goes with them during the Aztec section where they have to rescue they have to get the crystal skull back from the witch doctors and save this woman that's apparently there. And they do that, and then Bill just like takes off. It's like, oh, George Wendt was in the first one. Let's get we had Norm. Let's get Cliff to do this one, and he's probably about the same. Maybe George Wendt was in the first one more than Ratzenberger was in this one, but he's just like right in there. And and I do have a theory about something that I'll get to at the end because it's an interesting thing to think about. It's probably not true, but it's just a thought, and we'll get to it. So after the Aztec scene, they think they're all done. Like they say they got the crystal skull. Gramps is okay. They got this woman. Actually, there's a section in between. It's really weird, and this is how they get rid of the girlfriends. All right. Before Bill shows up, but after the jungle section, everyone's gone from the party except for Bill Maher, who plays an asshole in this, surprise, and the two girlfriends. And there's like a confrontation in the kitchen, and he reveals to them what's going on, and opens the door to reveal his grandfather, but there's a woman in there, the maid or something. And so the girlfriend automatically thinks that he's cheating on her, and they both take off with Bill Maher. And I'm sitting there going, that's a really lazy way to get rid of the girlfriends, if you think about it. It's like they wrote them into the movie and realized they weren't needed because they're not going to go on any of these journeys with them. So they had to write a way to get rid of them. And it's just like, they'll accuse... Because, it's Jesse's girlfriend that accuses him of cheating. But then Charles' girlfriend slaps him and takes off too. It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. It's just a way to get rid of the girlfriend. So we never see him again through the rest of the film. I'll explain why. So we have this dinner scene, right? And they think everything's back to normal except for, as people watching this, that's not what's going to happen because we have yet to see the actual villain of the film, the guy from the beginning of the film that killed Jesse's parents. And sure enough, they had this metal serving tray with the serving cover. Take it off, and he comes rising up from the table, which I thought was a good effect. Speaking of effects, first of all, the effects in the first movie were mostly practical, and they were very good. But here, there's a lot of stop motion, a lot of Harryhausen stuff, and it's very obvious because there are some times with the baby pterodactyl, where it's a puppet. You can tell it's a puppet, and then other times where it's stop motion animation, and you can tell because it's the two different looking puppets, and it's very noticeable. But so this is the climax. So there's gunshots going off because it's an Old West showdown. Like they end up in Old West twice. They go to the Old West. He has to rescue the girl and Charles, and supposedly they die. I don't know. But he fights off the dude, but Gramps gets shot. Now this guy, Slim Razor, he's supposedly as old as Gramps, but he hasn't been in possession of the skull. He wants the skull so he can live forever, but he's lived as long as Gramps. So why does he need the skull? I don't know, but there's a showdown where Jesse ends up shooting his head off. That doesn't kill him, by the way. He comes back. But the cops are outside the house because there's gunshots and stuff, and they want Jesse to come out for some reason. I don't know. Because the gunshots will have until after the cops get there, so I don't understand. I don't know. Cops were called. I don't know. But, so, Jesse takes down Slim, finally, and he grabs his grandpa, and they head through this door with light in it, and it takes him back to the Old West. And he buries his grandpa, and then Charles and the women are alive. The women are alive, and the Dogger Pillar and the pterodactyl. Right there. That's the end of the film. They go off. The film ends in the Old West. It's a decent film. I'd say I like the first one better just because William Katt was a better actor than these two. And there was still some horror elements to it, but this one was more of a horror adventure comedy type film. And like I said, the effects are a little bit worse than the first one in my opinion. And my theory now. So, what I haven't mentioned yet is that Jesse McLaughlin is the name of our main character. But he gets his name from his great-grandfather, who's also named Jesse McLaughlin. Now, our hero, Jesse McLaughlin, at the end of the movie, ends up in the Old West. Here's my thought. Here's my theory. You've heard, Futurama has done it before. The grandfather paradox. What if Jesse is actually his own great-great-grandfather? He's got the crystal skull. See, here's my thing. He's in possession of the crystal skull, right? What if he is Gramps and Charles is Slim Razor? And history's just going to repeat itself again, over and over again. Now, there are certain things in the film that contradict this, since Gramps says to him, I got to meet my own great-great-grandson. Which, being that he's over 200 years old, who knows, but he could have forgot, who knows, but it's just a theory. It's probably not true, but I kind of thought about this watching it, there's a lot of parallels to what's going on here. Like, the girlfriends were taken out. For some reason, they were just gone. And then those two both ended up in the West with the Aztec girl. And then they both share the same name. Jesse and Gramps, they share the same actual name. So, I don't know. But it's just a theory. It's probably not true. It's my theory. All in all, guys, I'm going to give this a 7. I enjoyed it. Not as much as the first one. It's a decent film. So what are you guys' thoughts on House 2: The Second Story? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.